to position herself as the candidate that can unite the party. Well, one Conservative MP who thinks she can do just that, and still thinks that this morning, is Bob Seeley. He's the MP for the Isle of Wight, and he joins us now. Well, Mr. Seeley, with huge respect, I mean, isn't it time for a reality check here? I mean, Mr. Sunak is so far ahead, there's no prospect, is there, of your favourite catching him? Shouldn't she throw the towel in?
I don't know. We'll have to ask her at 2 o'clock this afternoon when we find out what's going to happen in the next stage. What we absolutely agree that we all need to do is once this competition or once this contest is over, we need to come together because we badly need an outbreak of unity in the party. And whoever wins, we need to get behind that leader. If that leader had been Boris, if it's Rishi, or if it's Penny. I just happen to think the best unity candidate amongst all the candidates is still Penny.
But let's talk about Penny Mordant, shall we, as you want to. You say she's got experience. She says she's had 9 ministerial posts. She talks about her background, understanding, and the implication being that Rishi Sunak doesn't because of his financial, personal circumstances, understanding scraping together pennies and what people in the country feel. So she's made that clear. What she hasn't made clear, of course, is what she would do as Prime Minister. And this morning, we've been outside of Westminster, we've been in Barnsley talking to people and right across the country. A lot of people haven't even heard of her.
Penny has a great deal of ministerial experience. She's had 9 roles in 8 government departments, 3 of them at cabinet level. And her personal qualities are the sort of qualities that I think people would warm to. And the polling that we've seen is that people who know all 3 candidates and who are aware of who they are overwhelmingly put Penny as the person they most relate to, that they would most trust, that they would seek to see as a unifying candidate, and that they would most want as their friend. So if you look at the sort of polling that indicates politicians who have cut through, who have a relatability factor, a likability factor, Penny scores very highly on those.
Well, I also have to point out, though, that same poll, which asked the same people, also found that a significant number, more than 20% hadn't even heard of her, and also still put Rishi Sunak as the potential leader, even though those points that you made were there in the polling as well. That's the problem. And you restated what I stated about her government positions and her personal qualities, but gave no detail about what her policies would be and what sort of Prime Minister and what direction she would take the country in, which is, after all, what we want to know about outside of the Tory party.
Majority on barely 3 years ago, and we need to be putting that manifesto in place.
Which I think Penny do you understand that Penny Mordant will be putting in place?
Sorry, there was a slight break up in your question.
Which bits of the manifesto will she be putting in place?
Well, we're going to be delivering on our manifesto commitments that we made at the last election.
Highlight a bit, sorry, to be specific, because people have been cherry picking, haven't they? So what do you see her as bringing in?
When you say bringing in, are we talking...
Or reinforcing?
Look, we have a manifesto that we won the last election on, and we need to be delivering on that manifesto, and we need to make sure that we unite behind a leader who can deliver on those.
You spoke with great confidence at the outset of this interview that you think that Ms Mordant is going to get to 100 by 2 o'clock. You seem very confident about that. Does that indicate that you've been taking soundings since 9 o'clock last night when Boris Johnson withdrew? Have you been told by Conservative MPs who were going to put their support behind Boris Johnson that they switched it to Penny Mordant? Have you heard it? Has anyone told you that?
Yes, I mean, I made a few calls to colleagues last night and several were coming over. So there will be a move towards Penny. There has been a move towards Penny because a number of Boris supporters had Penny as their number 2. If you're asking me what the numbers are as of this morning, I'm not in our whipping team, so I don't know. But what I do know for sure is that people are coming over.
But you still can't confirm, and I'm surprised that you can't actually, because you must be very close to her in terms of swapping information. You still can't confirm that if she does get to 100, but then is soundly beaten in the final vote by Mr Sunak, you still can't confirm that she would then graciously give way and we'd have a coronation.
No, because I'm not going to deal in hypotheticals. I'm still making the case for Penny because I think she'd make a great leader of our party and a great Prime Minister. And those are because she's got a great set of qualities and because she's highly competent and she's proved herself as a very, very competent minister and a very, very competent parliamentary performer and performer in the House of Commons and someone who has the ability to dominate the House of Commons. So I'm still making that positive case rather than dealing in hypotheticals, as important as they may be come 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, James cleverly has come out in support of Rishi Sunak, just as we've been chatting. So numbers are falling behind the person who's in pole position.
Well, it'll be a surprise if she does it, but, you know, there have been a lot of surprises over the last few weeks. I don't think anybody can make any predictions, so we'll have to wait till 2 o'clock. Thanks for coming in.
You still proud of being British?